Hello, I'm Representative Cris Dush. I'm here with Agricultural Secretary Russell Redding at the Pennsylvania Farm Show. It's the 101st annual show. And Secretary, this is the third year that I've been down here. Every year seems a little bit different. And what are some of the new things this year, and what are some of the things that they're doing to try and spread the word?
Well, you know, we are really honored to host this show, and I think about doing it for 100 years, which we celebrated last year, and start a new century this year. A great tradition, but we took some lessons of last year's hosting of 100 and built from that, right? And what people really liked was this contrast of history and, you know, the future. And you'll see some of those displays here. They also really like the Know Your Farmer area, which is, you know, a place where we're trying to bring together you know, the farmers with different production practices, and show them greenhouse and hydroponics. But it's also recognizing that for a lot of these farms, you know, having a connection to tourism is important. Adding value to the product is important, direct retail. So you're going to see that here at the Farm Show. The other one that we're really pleased with, just because it fits so well, is sort of an Ag 101. Playing off of the 101st year, we're taking the nomenclature of education, right? 101. And so an Ag 101 is what you want to know a little more about, you know, Pennsylvania barns, right? Or you want to talk about alpacas or rabbits or plant production, whatever. We've got a full stage and a full week of those types of sort of short courses, right? 20, 30 minutes. Folks don't come to the farm show to stand still too long,
no.
Right? So we're encouraging them to grab their milkshake and their onion, you know, whatever they want to eat, and go next door and be educated on the Ag 101 stage.
It's a very informative process. And like you said, you can't hit everything. People can't afford, if you 18 acres under one roof, you'll never do this even in a whole week, be able to hit everything. But something that I really enjoyed was watching some of the kids from the city schools who have not had any experience with ag.
Yep. And
you know, you see some of the videos that occur nowadays where, well, you don't need a cow, all you got to do is go to Walmart and get your milk. You and the folks here at the Farm Show and the Department of Ag are giving a great education to some of these kids who otherwise would never have had it and would still have those thoughts in their own head. What are some of the other educational things that you're doing for the children and the people who are coming here experiencing ag for the first time?
Yeah, it's actually, you know, over the years, one of the real primary missions of this show is sort of the education of consumers, right? And you've got a small base of folks in production agriculture. Primary income is agriculture, but you've got a 98% roughly of the population that still likes to eat, right? Enjoy it, I do, you do. But how does that all sort of get conveyed? So the Farm Show becomes an opportunity to do that. You'll see around the complex these learning stations, the 30 different stations at different stops, and it's everything from, you know, the pollinators at the honey booth to the maple. We've taken agricultural commodities Pennsylvania is known for,
yes,
and made that a stop and a little like a passport stamp that the children can have stamped. So when they're done, they have a full sort of 30-station view. It takes them all the way around the complex, gives them a chance to really sample all of Pennsylvania agriculture too.
It's a great educational opportunity.
Yeah, it is.
One of the things that our farmers faced here the last couple of years was the avian flu, and we discussed last night that there's a new strain over in Asia. What are some of the things that we're doing to protect against that, and some other any kind of possibility of contaminating what's essential to us, our food supply?
Yeah, so the avian influenza, you know, came on the scene in 2014, 15 in Europe, and then, you know, as you watched it over time, it moved around the world, moved primarily by wild birds, right, in migratory patterns. And last year we were primed for it to come to Pennsylvania. Pleased to say that didn't happen, right? Part luck in terms of just birds didn't land that were high path AI infested, but also by good planning. and the work of the legislature and the administration of saying, we got to get on the front end of this thing and do farm level plans and change the biosecurity. So we feel like that's given us a good base to work from. We're back in that same season right now.
Yes.
A different strain, but every bit as deadly as the H5N2. So we're pulling out those plans, making sure the farmers have good biosecurity. You've got to have a good plan, on-farm plan, right?
Yes.
That is most important. Pennsylvania, we have anywhere from 60 million to 70 million birds in Pennsylvania, production birds, so not a small task for us. So anyway, we feel like we're prepared, but we've got to be ever vigilant to make sure that that doesn't come here.
Well, what's interesting is, in what I saw last year, with the farm show not actually even allowing the birds to be here, it was a precaution that the farm show took, as well as there were a lot of precautions, as you said, that occurred at the local level on the individual basis by the individual farmer. So this was a team effort.
It's a great team effort. I mean, there's no way, there's no substitute for good farm level biosecurity, generally, right? The same practices apply to high path AI particularly, but the partnership is between what you've done in the legislature and what we have done as a department, and I think it's really been a hallmark of how good state support government should work.
Yes.
Been a real success story.
While we're on the subject of partnerships, we've seen the people, our farmers live on the land. They don't want to see the land polluted. And we've been working together trying to get sustainable management plans, and some of the things we saw here were excellent examples of that. Can you talk a little bit about those kinds of partnerships and how through the soil conservation districts and that sort of thing we're working to get protect our environment, as well as protect the animals that are actually being used for our food supply?
Well, if you have a chance, check out the butter sculpture this year.
Yes.
And it has this sort of culture of stewardship. And we were very intentional about that, because we talk about agriculture as supplying food, which is obvious, right?
Yes.
But what is less obvious is that stewardship of land and resources and all the open space that provides the groundwater recharge. The job piece is sometimes appreciated, not always. So what we try to do through the butter sculpture is say there's this whole 7.5 million acres of land that's managed by relatively few people. And what they do with that land is critical to both the quality of life, but obviously the water quality and air quality, and importantly, we want to sustain that land for future generations.
That's right.
Right. So we're proud of that. So there's this whole culture of stewardship. So we're trying to celebrate it. But it's also a reminder to the agricultural community that we have to get the conservation plans. If you're using manure, you need the manure management plans. They are base documents required by our state. Important if you're in the Chesapeake Bay watershed. In addition, but not more important. It's an overlay of another layer of expectation there. So we think there's a story, but we also have to make sure that the partnerships are strong between our Conservation Commission, between the conservation districts in each of our respective counties, which have done a phenomenal job. So it's a message that we have to keep putting out there, to keep saying to the public we're good stewards. At the same time, we need to back that up with the practices as well.
Well, I know our farmers up home are, like I said, they take that whole stewardship thing to heart and personally. But I think we've got a great agricultural heritage here in the Commonwealth, and I think we've got an agricultural future that will serve generations to come. I appreciate the time to spend with you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think part of the story of agriculture is sort of told here in the complex, right? And how fortunate we are to have a state-sponsored show that connects us to our history and agrarian society, to a future that is, wide open, but is also a business and a key part of the quality of life here in the state. So appreciate your support.
All right, thank you very much.